Sanatan Goswami, he explains something very interesting. In the same way that the Lord Krishna manifests himself as Baladev, and Baladev manifests into the Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradumna, the Narayans, Mahasankarshan, the three Mahavishnus, the different avatars that are coming from Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. In the same way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that from Radha, the feminine form comes, the assistant of the Supreme Lord, and from Baladev, the masculine form. And in Vaikuntha, Mahashankarshan, the associates of the Lord Narayan are coming. But similarly, from Krishna comes Baladev, etc., etc. And from the original inhabitants in Goloka Vrindavan come the other inhabitants of the other planets of the Supreme Lord. You understand? They are expansions of expansions of expansions of expansions of the original form of every form of the Lord is Krishna. For example, of all the mothers of the Supreme Lord, the original mother is Mother Yashoda. And then it is explained that Vrishni, for example, she is a manifestation, a partial manifestation, as a demigod. You understand? And when naturally the inhabitants of Vrindavan or Mathura come on this earth for the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, these associates, they merge into the original associates in order to be part of the pastimes. It's not that the original form in the Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, it is explained that Yashoda was a demigoddess. She was not a demigoddess, but the form by which the demigoddess made austerities and emerged in my Yashoda, it is this demigod we're speaking about, not the original form of Mother Yashoda. In the same way that when the Lord comes in the material world, Krishna, all his other forms, they merge into him. This is why we say he is Avatari, the source of all avatars. For example, when Krishna kills a demon, it is Lord Vishnu that manifests to kill this demon. Because Krishna, he is in all his sweetness. In the same way, in the transcendental world, in Goloka Vrindavan, the inhabitants of the Lord are never aware. They can never perceive that he is God. In Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is just a kid. But still, when the Lord manifests in the material world, these inhabitants, they can feel. Why? Because this aspect of Aishvarya is also in them through the partial expansions, plenary portions that are in them. They are very subtle things, but they are important to understand because sometimes we are confused. How is it that in Goloka Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj can never understand that Krishna is God? And the Gopi, they can perceive sometimes that the Krishna is Narayan. At certain moments, it is explained. We have to understand it in this sense. There are pastimes that are different, where opulence and sweetness can mix in Boma Vrindavan. But in Goloka Vrindavan, the eternal kingdom of the Lord, there's never any opulence. It's 100% sweetness. It is in that sense we must understand. When they perceive, because different manifestations of themselves enter in them. So there's all kinds of feelings that are also present in them, including perceiving the opulence. It is complicated, I know, but the pastimes of the Lord are extremely difficult to understand because they operate on different platforms. As Brishni makes austerities to appear, to have the Lord as her child, at the same time, she's a plenary portion of a plenary portion of a plenary portion of Devaki. Still, she is the Lord, the mother of the Lord. It's very difficult to understand. But the pastimes of the Lord, they orchestrate in this way for different reasons. For showing to the living beings their mercy. They can accept everything for love, even lose their position by love. Krishna, he can do that because he is God. He can do this sacrifice. In the material world, a mother can sacrifice herself completely for her child. But the father? Yes, some father. There are some selfish fathers or some selfish mothers. But many persons had this experience of parents that sacrifice themselves for them. But there's also another reality. There are parents that give themselves completely for their children, that makes deep sacrifice. Why? Because this nature exists in the Supreme Lord. The Lord, by love, because of out of love for his devotee, is ready to abandon his opulence and become a kid, to be controlled by his devotee. And this is what is supreme. This is why these pastimes are put together in order for living beings to understand the magnanimity of the Supreme Lord. It's very important to understand. And also, there is another side that is revealed by the Acharyas. It's to show that the Lord originally also has this condition, that he does not become the child of anybody. He is already the child of this personality. And that expands in another person that is different to accomplish austerities in the material world, to have the same experience of the Mother Devaki. So it's like a circle to make that different aspects of the Lord appear. For example, Devaki and Vasudev, in different forms, they came every time, there was an incarnation of the Lord, like Prishnigarbha, for example. But Devaki is a manifestation of Yashoda. In Devaki, there is a conception of the opulence of Krishna. For example, Krishna appeared, Adivamsha explains that Krishna appeared in the same way in Mathura and in Gokul. There are two regions of the transcendental world with two moods that are different. In Gokul, there is only sweetness, and in Mathura appears a bit of opulence. Opulence means that we start to see the power of the Lord. Aishvarya. When there's only sweetness, Madhurya, Krishna is just a small child. We love him because he's a small child. He's the most beautiful, the most wonderful, no matter what he does. He always has our dearest child. But in Mathura, there is this possibility of seeing that he is God. It's there. For example, when in the prison of Kamsa the Lord appeared, it is explained that he appeared in the mind of Vasudev, and after he was transferred in the breast of Devaki. But it's not that the Lord takes birth in the world. It is explained that the Acharyas explain like Vishwanath, that her belly inflated, but it's not like the Lord was present like another ordinary child. And when he manifested in the air, in the prison with 4 arms, Mahavishnu. And what did they do, Vasudeva and Devaki? They offered prayers to the Supreme Lord. You understand? And at the same time, what's interesting, They were afraid that Kamsa would see him in this supreme aspect. And to protect him, they asked him to become, please come a small child. So it's mixed, you understand? Because the Lord Narayan, he he's the one who creates. Kamsa is the one who gives all powers. They don't need to be afraid. If we see the Supreme Lord, that means there's no fear anymore. And since it is mixed with the sweetness in Mathura, when they have this aspect of Narayan, they prayed and they said to save him, please come a child so that we can protect you. It's mixed, you understand? It is incredible. And from there, they received the order to bring the child, Krishna, Vasudev Krishna, in Gokul. And in Harivamsha explains something that is very interesting, is that the original Krishna appeared from Yashoda in the same way, simultaneously. And when Vasudev appeared in Gokul, we know the story. There was a strong rain, the Yamuna was agitated. He crossed the Yamuna, and there was a passage that created so that he could pass the Yamuna. And Sankarshan, the Lord, the supreme snake, came over his head to protect Krishna. So it's not ordinary, you know. And when he arrived, what did Vasudev do? He did not see the child Krishna, but his Krishna merged into the child. It is mystical. It's difficult to understand. He took a small girl because Yogamaya was ordained by the Lord to take birth in the womb of Yashoda. It is revealed in Bhagavat Purana. So there were two children. Harivamsha explains this, but Bhagavatam explains that only Yogamaya, the girl. You understand? This is why many people think that the original Krishna appeared in Mathura. It's completely false. And then, after, what did Vasudev do? He took the small girl. And he let Krishna there stay with Mother Yashoda. And when he came back to the jail, the doors, they closed behind them. The chains were put again on their arm, on their body. And then the small girl, the guards saw that a child was born. So Kamsa arrived with his strength of 10,000 elephants. And Devaki was very afraid because it was not her child. The Acharyas explained this. She was very afraid because she thought, it is the only way I can see my child. So if he kills this small daughter, I'll never have any chance to see my child. So Devaki, it was the test for her. And she told him, but why do you want to kill this child? It's a girl. But Kamsa, he was preached by Narada before the first child was born. And he said, everywhere demigods were born to assist the Lord Vishnu. You don't know who is who. He said, the eighth, but look at my hand. The eighth child starts there. Look at my fingers. He starts at the first finger or the fifth one. And he thought, oh, it can be any child. Why? Because Narada, he wanted absolutely he wanted to speed up. So he wanted Kamsa to be angry so that he will kill the 6 first children, who were the 5th sons of Marachi, who have been cursed because they stole a cow from the great sage. So they were cursed by this sage. And they wanted absolutely for Krishna to appear quickly. Narada and the demigods, they had a great eagerness so that Kamsa will be killed because he was tormenting the entire planet with his demons. So Kamsa, even if it was a girl, it did not hesitate. He wanted to throw her against the wall. That's how he killed the other children. There were stains of the blood of the children. Imagine someone with the strength of 10,000 elephants who throws a child on the wall. It can be quite destructive. So when he wanted to throw her on the wall, she escaped from her fingers, from his fingers. And when she left, she appeared as Durga, and he saw Durga in the air. We must know that demons like Kamsa, they never come in contact with the internal energy of the Supreme Lord, only the external energy. That's why Kamsa is a Durga Devi. The manifestation of the internal energy in the material world. Durga Devi. Prabhupada said Durga Devi is the guardian. She's the one who guards the prisoners in this material world and the living entities who do not want to become devotees of the Lord, because it's the eternal nature of the living entity. And he saw Durga, and the demons, they love Durga. It's their goddess. And when he saw Durga, he was really impressed. Devaki, who gives birth to Durga, he said, "Oh, I made a mistake. It was his divinity." He was really in admiration with her. It's true. After this incident, he was more caring with the Devaki and Vasudeva. He was more sensitive. And then also, somehow, his fear increased because there were too many strange things. That Durga Devi appears. And there was we know that Sankarshan appeared in the womb of Devaki. It was transferred on the ordain of the Supreme Lord. On the order, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini. It was strange. The demons, sometimes, their negative activities, by their negative activities, they're attracted by the Lord. They cannot escape their destiny. It is terrible. It is explained when there's too many sinful activities that are done by one person, then there's only sinful reactions. No possibility to escape. And Kamsa, this time, he arrived in this situation. He could not kill God. Anyway, we cannot kill God. Only Kamsa thinks this. God is dead. It's true, no? But it's not possible. And so, naturally, we know what Krishna did. What did he do? What did Kamsa do? He thought he made the meetings, he did a meeting with his ministers, and he thought, maybe we kill a few innocent children and kill my enemy. So they brought hordes of demons to kill everyone. In which Purana? I forget. The astrologer. Who did the astrology of Krishna? Garga Samhita. In the Garga Samhita, it is explained that Kamsa, he truly has such strength. He went to fight with all the leaders of the demons, Agasura, all the demons, Keshi, Aristasura. He killed all of them, but he fought with all of them, except Putanavi, because she was a lady. He respected her. But since he won over his brother, her brother, then she accepted to follow him. So he had friends that were very demoniac. Jarasandha, his step brother. So he truly he took after the Yadavas, because he heard that the Yadavas, that's where the demigods and the associates of his enemy will manifest. So they were forced to take shelter. In other dynasties, they had no places to live, except certain of them stayed back. Akrura stayed, for example, and naturally, Kamsa sent demons like Putana. Putana in the Bhagavatam, it is she was. It says that she was 13 kilometers high. Wow! She had hair, red hair, black eyes. She was very terrifying with great big teeth. And when she arrived in Gokul, by her mystical powers, she took the appearance of a Devi, of a very beautiful lady. It is explained when she arrived in Gokul, she was so beautiful that all the men were looking at her. She was walking with such grace, and she was playing a musical instrument to the point that people thought that she was the goddess of fortune who came personally to see Krishna. Can you believe it? Mystic powers. It's quite powerful. Being 13 kilometers high with great nails and teeth, she could travel in the air through the branch of a tree. And she was feeding herself from babies. She was eating babies. It's terrible. Terrible. You know that Putana, she kidnapped Radha. Radha appeared from a mountain. Rupa Goswami explains. This is another pastime. But that's how she fell in the Yamuna. And after Vrishabhanu Maharaj, he took her. That's how she appeared. Putana also had a role to play. And so, when she arrived, she started to kill many babies. And there was a great lamentation. Everyone will come to see Nanda Maharaj to complain. How is it that so many children are dying? And when she arrived in the palace of Nanda Maharaj, Rohini and Yashoda, they did not put any resistance because they saw this. She looked so beautiful and she was so loving that they did not put any resistance to her coming, because this is the nature in Vrindavan of being appreciative, to let her go of our position. If someone has a qualification, we let our place. We let him take the place. This is the nature in Vrindavan. If you have a qualification in Vrindavan, we let you do it because you think, oh, Krishna will have a lot of pleasure. There's naturally a humility that comes in us, and we let our place. That's why there's no envy. Everything is beautiful. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that envy does not exist. There's no faults in Vrindavan. That's why we cannot fall down. There's no faults. How can someone have faults where Krishna possesses unlimited humility and beauty? And it is impossible. And everyone is like this. Even the blade of grass has unlimited qualities. The insect, the earth, everything is living, everything is love, everything is perfect. How can we fall down? Those who say that have no intelligence. They did not study. But there are stories that explain that sometimes the Lord or Radha, they send their associates. Sridham sometimes came down as a demon even. But still, it is not possible. It is impossible. Because there will be a fault otherwise. That's why the Acharyas explain that when a Vaishnava comes from Vaikuntha, he's never touched by the material energy. He is never conditioned by the material energy. It's a proof. Because if we say we fall down, that means we're conditioned by the material energy. But the Acharyas explain that an eternal associate is never conditioned by the material energy. The material energy does not touch that person, just like the Supreme Lord. It's very interesting. If we will fall down, that will mean we will lose our nature. And we should be touched by, conditioned by the material energy. But the Acharyas explain that the jiva, the one who comes from the marginal plane of existence, he has this capacity to be either conditioned by the material energy, either influenced by the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The Bhagavad Gita explains that once someone attains this place, he'll never come down again to the material world. So he obtains the same disposition as the eternal associate of the Lord. It's very important to understand the philosophical truths. Very, very important. So, Jiva Goswami, he makes a parenthesis. It's very interesting. Because in every material universe, there's a spiritual planet that we call Svetadvip. Svetadvip, it's the spiritual planet. How can you fall down from that planet? You can ask Jiva Goswami, it's not all explained. But it is possible to fall down from Svetadvip, although it is a spiritual planet. Everything is possible. We were discussing with Yeshua Dwala about this. There's a devotee that made a research and he explained this point. Very interesting. So Putana, to come back to Putana, she was able to have the darshan of Krishna. And when she saw Krishna, she saw this child, she thought, wow, he has all strength. He's all powerful. He has extraordinary strength, extraordinary beauty and strength. But as a demon, she did not have enough intelligence. The demons are very, very egotistical, even though if they're in front of the Lord. But we know that she gave her breast to Krishna so that he could drink. And Krishna, when he saw the demon, he knew she was a demon. He knew he had to chastise her. But at the same time, she had the body of a woman. We do not kill a woman. So he closed his eyes. That's the reason why he closed his eyes. He started to suck her breast and to suck her life force. And what happened? Putana started to suffocate because her vital force started to move out of the body. She knew she would die. She started to scream and she ran from the house. So the internal energy made her move because she could have taken 13 kilometers high in the room and destroyed the whole palace. But Krishna made this pastime so that she would run away. She started to take her original form of 13 kilometers. And she falls down on a whole forest that became destroyed. 13 kilometers. Can you believe it? So Yashoda was shocked. But it was miraculous. Where was the small Krishna? He was playing on the breast of Yashoda just like a small child playing. So they came to look for Putana. They must have taken ladders because maybe it's like a kilometer to go over the body or through the fingers. So how can you go up her body? Her breasts were like mountains. So they came to find the small Krishna. So the pastimes of the Lord are very difficult to understand. If you say someone that the demon was 13 kilometers high, she would think, oh, that person is very weird. But for a devotee, it is something completely unique. Because if the Lord appears, why would not our extraordinary beings not appear also? For example, the Lord is in the heart of all living beings. If you say that to a materialist, he will think, can you believe it? This is the most extraordinary thing, that the Lord is inside our heart and he observes us as Paramatma. What is it at this moment, Putana, 13 kilometers high? It's nothing if we look. Because as soon as we accept devotion for Krishna, and there's a small purification that comes, we have this feeling that Krishna is in our heart. And then after, the rest is not, we accept everything, because it's like a seed that makes us accept everything, even as extraordinary as Putana. That's why we should not be surprised that such extraordinary things happen. It's normal. Thank you very much.